Imagine hearing that a robot can actually get pregnant and give birth to a child. That headline alone sounds like something straight out of Black Mirror, but it exploded across news sites and social media recently. Clips and articles claimed Chinese researchers have unveiled the world's first humanoid pregnancy robot, complete with an artificial womb inside its body. People rushed to share it, calling it the end of natural childbirth and the start of a new era where machines might replace human mothers. But what's really going on here? The claim from a company called Kiowa Technology and a figure named Dr. Zhang Kafang, who was described as a scientist connected to Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. According to reports, this pregnant robot could carry a fetus in an artificial womb and even deliver the baby. Some outlets said it would be ready by 2026, and the cost was listed at around 100,000 yen, or about $14,000. The story went viral almost instantly. But here's where things get interesting. When journalists started digging, they found serious red flags. For one, Nanyang Technological University confirmed that no researcher named Zhang Kafang worked there. Despite the claim, there were also no patents, no peer-reviewed papers, and no official records showing this robot even existed. Live Science, which fact-checked the story earlier this year, called it out as likely a hoax, a viral headline with no real technology behind it. Now, that doesn't mean the whole concept is pure fiction, because behind the buzzword, pregnant robot is a very real area of science, artificial wombs, also known as ectogenesis. This is the idea of growing a baby outside a human body. It's not science fiction anymore. Back in 2007, researchers at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia made headlines when they placed premature lambs inside what they called a biobag. It was a sealed, fluid-filled environment with tubes connected to a mimic and a placenta, providing nutrients and oxygen. The lamb fetuses actually continued developing, growing fur and practicing breathing movements. They survived for weeks in this setup, showing that partial gestation outside the body is possible, at least in animals. Since then, other countries like Japan, the Netherlands, and Australia have been conducting research on similar systems. Just last year, Japanese scientists reported progress in keeping embryos alive in artificial womb environments for short periods. These systems are still far from carrying a baby from conception to birth, but they're making incremental progress. And here's why the Chinese headline struck such a chord. China is facing a serious demographic crisis. In 2023, the country recorded its lowest birth rate on record, and its population actually declined for the second year in a row. The government has been encouraging couples to have more children, but fertility rates remain low. At the same time, researchers in China have filed patents for artificial womb technologies, including systems that can monitor embryos and automate growth conditions. So even though the humanoid robot pregnancy story was fake, the backdrop of declining population and heavy investment in reproductive technologies makes it feel plausible. Think about that. A viral hoax gained traction not just because it sounded shocking, but because people know the technology is inching forward. And the motivation, boosting birth rates, overcoming infertility, pushing biotech innovation is very real. So, if there isn't actually a humanoid robot walking around with a baby bump, what's the real progress? Let's break it down. Right now, the most advanced research in artificial wombs is focused on helping premature babies survive, not replacing pregnancy altogether. Every year, around 15 million babies worldwide are born prematurely, according to the World Health Organization. For many of them, the underdeveloped lungs and organs make survival extremely difficult. That's where artificial wombs come in. The Philadelphia team's biobag experiment with lambs was designed as a bridge between the mother's womb and the outside world. Instead of placing a fragile, extremely premature baby in an incubator, the idea is to continue gestation in a controlled womb-like environment. That's a huge difference from growing a child entirely outside a human body. Still, the progress has been impressive. In Japan, researchers at Unendo University have been working on similar systems. Their studies showed embryos developing in a rotating artificial womb chamber that simulates how amniotic fluid moves. And in the Netherlands, scientists at the Eindhoven University of Technology received European Union funding to build a prototype artificial womb for human use in neonatal intensive care units. These projects are in development right now. But here's the catch. No one has successfully brought a human fetus from conception to birth in an artificial womb. The challenges are massive. For example, the placenta isn't just a nutrient pipe. It manages hormones, immune signals, and oxygen exchange at incredibly precise levels. Recreating all of that with machines is far beyond current science. That's why experts say we're still decades away, if it's even possible. While the artificial womb side focuses on medicine, robotics has taken its own path. In Japan, humanoid robots have been tested in childcare settings. These robots can rock cribs, read stories, or even track a baby's movements with sensors. They're not pregnant robots, but they do show how automation is creeping into spaces once thought of as purely human. And in China, companies like Fourier Intelligence and Unitary are racing to build humanoids capable of lifting, carrying, and assisting with daily tasks. Earlier this year, Unit's humanoid H1 robot made headlines when it demonstrated carrying loads of around 30 kilograms. Again, not designed for babies, but it shows the mechanical capacity is there. Pair that kind of hardware with artificial womb technology, and you can see why people quickly believed the viral pregnant robot headline. Now let's zoom out. What does this story matter beyond shock value? Because the timing is hitting global nerves. Birth rates are falling not just in China, but in places like South Korea, Japan, and much of Europe. The United Nations projects that by 2050, 1 in 6 people worldwide will be over the age of 65. Governments are searching for ways to deal with shrinking workforces and rising healthcare needs. That makes technologies like artificial wombs, even if still theoretical, a hot topic in policy, not just in science labs. And while the science isn't there yet, the fact that countries are investing heavily in patents and prototypes shows how quickly this field is moving. Here's where things get complicated. Even though a fully pregnant robot doesn't exist today, just the idea sparks massive ethical and social debates. For one, what would it mean for women if machines could carry pregnancies? Some ethicists argue that artificial wombs could finally relieve women of some of the physical risks of childbirth, which remain dangerous in many parts of the world. According to the World Health Organization, about 287,000 women die each year from pregnancy and childbirth-related causes. Supporters say a safe artificial womb could one day reduce that number dramatically. But there's another side. Critics warned that removing pregnancy from the human body could change how society views motherhood and family. Would parenthood become something you purchase rather than something you physically experience? Would wealthy families have an advantage, able to afford artificial wombs while others cannot? That quickly raises questions of inequality. And it doesn't stop there. Religious groups have already spoken out about the concept of ectogenesis, arguing it interferes with natural order and the sanctity of life. Some bioethicists worry about the potential for designer babies, where parents might choose not only to use artificial wombs, but also to genetically edit embryos for traits like height, intelligence, or athletic ability. The debate is already happening with technologies like CRISPR gene editing, which Chinese scientists famously used in 2018 to create the first genetically modified babies. So, even if the viral pregnant robot was fake, the world is already wrestling with very real questions about how far reproductive technology should go. Let's talk about what the future could actually look like. Experts generally break it down into 3 stages. Short-term, within the next decade. Artificial wombs might enter hospitals as a way to save extremely premature infants. Instead of traditional incubators, babies born at 22 or 23 weeks could be placed in a fluid-filled environment that gives them a better chance of survival. This is the area where most scientists are focusing their efforts. Medium-term, over the next 20 to 30 years. Partial gestation might be possible where fetuses spend the first weeks in a lab-controlled womb and then are transferred to a woman's body or an incubator. It would still involve human pregnancy, but with technological assistance long-term in the realm of science fiction. But not impossible. Entire gestation from conception to birth outside the human body. That could involve biobag systems, or as the viral story imagined, humanoid robots designed to hold artificial wombs. If that ever happens, the ethical, legal, and cultural battles would be unlike anything we've seen. And that brings us back to the viral headline. The first pregnant robot is here. The truth is, it isn't. The robot in those stories doesn't exist, but the reason millions of people believed it shows just how close this feels to reality. With declining birth rates, advancing robotics, and ongoing artificial womb research, the line between science fiction and fact is getting thinner every year. So maybe the real story isn't whether a robot can get pregnant in 2025. It's how humanity is going to handle the moment when the technology finally catches up. Because that day might not be as far away as we think. If you made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now.